Hello Collective, this is Pam from Artemis Oracle. I'm filming this video on Saturday, August 2nd. So I hope your weekend is off to a great start. Let's see what messages you need to know this time. We're going into the energy oracle cards to see what the current energy is. And depending on the message, we'll build on that and use specific cards as needed for clarification or anything. So let's just keep moving forward. What's the current energy for the collective? This reading can be for whenever you happen to come across it. It doesn't necessarily have to be the day I'm filming or the day I post it. It could be whenever you feel inclined to watch it. Maybe the title, thumbnail catches your eye. Okay, the Temple Path, number 12. Okay, let me read what that card is. 12. It's about spiritual support and a spiritual purpose. Receiving this card represents your own spiritual evolution. The winding path you are on leads to a blessed temple and a lovely garden symbolizing the spiritual destiny your soul has had in mind for this lifetime. This card upright is here to tell you that what you're going through now is all a part of your soul's process. You are on your karmic path and heading in the right direction, and the choices you make now are important for your personal growth and life lessons. The lights around the temple represent the spirit world. Your family members, friends, angels, guides, all the loving spirit helpers who long to assist you. I'm sorry, I'm reading weird. Call upon them and be open to their wisdom and inspiration. This is a wonderful, life-expanding time, so keep in mind your personal priorities as well as your spiritual connection. Following your higher intentions will help you move your life forward in dramatic ways, and connecting with spirit and your higher self will have a wonderful influence in all that you experience. So this is about you understanding and knowing that you are supported by your ancestors, your angels, your guides. And it's for you to remain on this path that you are, whatever you're doing right now, and you are heading in the right direction. And if you feel like you're not, you are going to get the clues. You're going to get the nudges that are going to redirect you, that are going to help you realign to what your purpose is, what your life purpose is, what your soul purpose is. And it's important for you to be aware and present. You know, if you're not present in the moment, you're going to be missing the clues. You're going to be missing the signs. So as long as you remain present, hopeful, faithful, and call upon the people on the other side, if you believe in that, because not everybody believes in that. But if you're watching tarot, you do. You have to, unless you're doing research. Yeah, just stay on the path that you're on and know that you will receive the signs and the nudges that will help redirect you and realign you to what your purpose is and what path you're supposed to be on, what your destined path is. So number 12 may be significant to you in some way. Your birthday may be on the 12th. Your life path number may be 3 if you reduce 1 and 12 down to 3. Okay, so let's see. Considering that, I think that's going to be the theme of this reading, about staying on your spiritual path. Let's see. I'm going to go into the answer oracle. I think I'm going to this deck. It's interesting, the yield card stood in the deck. Yield is about focus, courage, surrender, and accept. I think this is so perfect and aligns with what we just read, you know. Sometimes you're going to have to stop. Sometimes you're going to have to let things pass you by and know when you need to move forward, you know. Force, concede, surrender, accept. I feel like with this card, it's really asking for you to be in the present moment and let go of any expectations, let go of the past, accept things for what they are at this moment. You cannot change the past, and the future is unwritten. You don't know what's going to happen in the next second, the next day. You don't know, anything can happen, you know, and it could change your life for the better or for the worse. But the most important thing is to be present in this moment. Let's see. And I'm getting distracted by a message. I hate when people text me like way after I texted them. But I'm going to let that go. I'm going to surrender. But yeah, I feel like this is what this card is asking you to do. And I love that, because with you letting go and surrendering, you're allowing a transformation, changes to happen without any restrictions, without any blockages. You're not getting in your own way. And as human beings, we have we know what the possibilities are, and then we could become fixated on a specific outcome, and then we become attached to that outcome. And if it doesn't go, the outcome doesn't turn out the way we expected, then we end up being disappointed, sad, frustrated. But the thing is, those expectations that we have and hope will come to fruition are blockages in a way, because you're already setting a tone of what you want to happen. Of course you want good things to happen, but things don't always happen the way we want them to. Sometimes they happen the way they're meant to, and sometimes they happen even better than we can even imagine. So that's where the surrender has to come in. So you have to let go of those expectations, those because expectations are restrictions in a way. They're just restrictions of our mind, because there are, so like I mentioned, so many possibilities, but we get fixated on the one that looks the most appealing. But then it's the outcome. There are infinite possibilities that we can't even fathom, So I felt like I had to say that for some reason. Promise. Oath, contract, emotional bond. Okay, let's see what that has to do with anything. What does the collective need to know this time? What messages do you have for the collective? I feel like you have to make a promise to yourself to not be so hard on yourself, not be fixated or caught up in an idea of what you want to happen in a specific way, I know that happens to me a lot. I would say recently, and this is involving somebody else, they mentioned something, and then in my mind, my mind automatically went to something that I wanted, and it wasn't even about that, and I got disappointed, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I get hard on myself. I'm like, I'm so dumb. Why did I think it was that? Why? But it's because I was hoping that's what it would be, whatever it was. I'm not gonna say what it was, but that's what I was hoping, but it wasn't even that. And I was disappointed, and that kind of changed my whole mood. It changed my demeanor. It changed my attitude, even how I interacted with that person. Okay, so sunset, decline, fade, aging. What is the sunset about? Considering the energy card that we received about this empath and about spiritual, what is it? Because I left the book open. I just want to make sure everything connects. Spiritual purpose and support. Just going to put that there just to keep it in place. I feel like it's important for you to maintain your faith. I think some of you may be experiencing a decline of faith. Maybe your faith is going down. Maybe you're losing hope, losing faith. And that's where you need to yield. And you have to reflect on, what exactly are you losing hope? What are you losing hope for? What is it that you were wanting or you don't think is going to happen? That's a question you have to ask yourself whenever you have those moments where you feel like giving up, And sometimes when we go through those moments where we feel like giving up, those are the moments that we really need to surrender. It's not giving up, it's surrendering. It's like taking a break. It's taking like a step back, or a pause. It doesn't mean, you have to give up whatever it is that you want or whatever it is that you're hoping for, but it's just a matter of you kind of taking a step back or a pause so that you can reflect and see if it still aligns with you, and look at what are you doing, what actions are you taking that can be causing you to lose hope and faith. You know, I like, this is a human experience. Fire. You know, like, see, I mentioned the losing faith, and then it says decline. It's like, you got to make sure that you don't lose your spark. Don't lose that spark of hope. Don't lose that spark of faith or inspiration, you know. Let go, you know, don't let your spark, don't let your flame burn out, essentially. And this is why it's important to heal, to take a step back. Because if you keep moving forward, trying to force something, it's either going to blow up in your face, or it's just going to end up being disappointing. Sorry, you're going to end up disappointed. It's going to end up being disappointing. Yeah, you can't force it. Whatever it is that, you know, you're wanting, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen, you know, don't force it. Don't force it, because things are going to happen the way they're meant to. And if you force it, you're either going to make it happen faster, and it's not going to be the way you want, or it's going to have, it's not going to be how you want it. There are going to be some parts missing. You know, it's like when you build a house and you try to rush it. If you rush it, you end up, you may end up missing, you know, strengthening the foundation, making sure that the ground that you're building on is leveled and secure, and that you're using the right tools, you have the right screws and bolts and nuts and joints, and you know, everything's aligned and everything. You know, I don't know anything about house building, so please, you know, I think you know what I mean. Like, you don't want to rush something, because you don't want something to like be done hastily, but then it's done improperly, that it has a weak foundation and can crumble at any moment. So whatever it is that you're really wanting, and it's not happening the way you want, it's because it's still under construction. You know, you don't want anything that's half-assed. You don't want a half-assed relationship. You don't want a half-assed project. You don't want a half-assed job opportunity or offer. You don't want anything half-assed. You want it to be as secure, stable, it's something that you could continue to build off of. You don't want something that can crumble at the gust of a wind, you know, or because of a little argument. You know, you want something that can stand the test of time. And, you know, in order for that to happen, something has to go through the construction period. It has to go through that whole process of making sure, you know, that everything is aligned, everything is secure, everything is tight, and made with the right materials, the right attitude, the right mind frame. You don't want anything that can be a weak point in whatever it is that you want. I think I'm speaking in riddles, because I think it's because we all have different desires. But all in all, it's about maintaining faith that whatever it is that you want can happen. It's just a matter of you being patient and continuing to have hope. Don't let that your spark of hope, your faith burn out. You know, if you feel like you're at that point, that's the time for you to take a break, reflect, look at how things are, appreciate how things are going, especially if things are going in the right direction. It may not be going the way, the speed that you want it to, but if just as long as it's going forward and things are going well, just let it keep going in that trajectory without getting in your own way, you know, without self-sabotaging it. I feel like that's the message for today. Oh wow, look, the bottom of the deck is health. Yeah, I think some of you may have been stressing about something because it's not happening fast enough, but you need to take a break. You need to pause, you need to reflect, you need to introspect, and you need to allow yourself to not get so fixated on a specific outcome, you know, allow things to flow. And I speak from experience, that is not the easiest thing to do, but the most important thing to do is be present in this moment, you know. Like I said, take it step by step. Every day is a process, you know, even you waiting for something to come to full fruition, you know. it's a process. You know, you have to trust that everything is going to happen the way it's meant to, and things are going to be the way they're destined to be. You know, and it may be even better than you expect. So I'm going to leave the reading there. I hope it was helpful in some way. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And I'm wishing you a great day ahead. Bye.